This is IONIQ 5N. Join me on the install process of this prototype wing sent to me over by the guys over at Epsilon Aero. You can see here we are test fitting it for the first time. As you can see, I've got the video sped up in certain different parts, 2 times, 4 times, 5 times, just for consistency's sake and saving some time here, because as you can see here, it takes us a long time to figure out where and what and how to do. As this is a prototype wing, there's actually no install guide, so we had to really figure out what we were going to do. And you can kind of see me and my friend Ryan here running back and forth, kind of testing the places and pulling things apart, trying to see what is the best place to really get started here. You can see in the background there, he's got his red car. That's actually his project car. At the time, it had a blown engine, so we were trying to get it fixed as well. But as you see, yeah, we're just walking around in circles, just trying to figure out what the hell we're going to do here. And you can see my friend Chris finally joining us here to help us try to figure out where we're going to put this thing in. And you see Ryan there with his light and me and him walking back and forth, just really trying to figure out where or how to pull this apart. Seeing as most of this is one piece, it's very difficult to really see how and where to really mount the wing. Epsilon did a really great job in manufacturing all of the parts, but really not knowing where they went or how they were supposed to go in was probably the most challenging part of this build. As you can see, eventually we did figure out how to remove the top wing part there, which is where we had to necessarily bolt on the actual wing. So we had to take apart the black side fenders, as you can see him pulling them up there. And you see me messing with it on my side. He was really good at this. I couldn't get mine to come off at all. He really had to help me. A lot of this is really well glued on, and we had to remove some screws. It's actually not as hard as we thought it would be when we got in there and saw that, you know, there's a few screws and a lot of 3M tape. And here you can see us trying to figure out where the top mount part goes. Ryan's holding it up there, trying to see how and where we should be able to mount it on the top of the wing. Like I said, none of this had a guide. So it was a lot of measuring and a lot of eyeball testing, and you could see Chris there really saying, you know, hey, it should go this way. Again, none of us really knew where it went, and we're just trying to figure it out. I'll have you know, I actually was able to get my side off on my own on this one, and that was Ryan's side over there. You can see Chris not doing much, but here you get a peek underneath the 2 black pieces, and then under the OEM wing there. And then these are the 2 pieces. We have to drill into those, Dremel them out in order to actually get the wing in there. And you'll see Ryan start that process here. I'm not very confident when it comes to cutting and drilling into things. And he did a really good job with his Veloster, which you guys probably have seen. So I let him really handle this. And yeah, there's the graphics of it. Yeah, I was too scared to do this. So, you know, they always say there's nothing like the first cut. And you know, measure twice, cut once kind of thing. And this is us sticking really true to that. This is him, again, just remeasuring, making sure before we do the original cut. And here we go. This is us getting ready for it, all excited. And then I'm going to pan over to his Veloster over here so you guys can see. He did a really good job with his wide body. And this is going to be him going into it now. Here goes the first cuts. I was kind of nervous about everything because, again, I've never done any like cosmetic body work like this on any previous vehicle. But he had a really good job of doing that with his Veloster and his other car's Fiero over there. And so I had complete trust. I mean, he's got all the right tools. He knows what he's doing. And you can see there, he's got really good straight lines. He did a lot of good measurements prior to this. And like I said, Epsilon Aero did a really good job of sending us cut lines and certain things that we would need. Originally, this wing came off of the Mini GT car, which is produced outside of America. There's only the one wing there, which is not really a usable wing outside of like show car stuff. So when Epsilon and I came up with this idea to collab together to make this wing a reality in real life, he actually had to do a lot of stuff to account for downforce, track use, high aerodynamic stuff like that, actually being used in a in a track rather than just a show car. You know, when I talked to him, he told me that the Mini GT literally goes from one point to the other point, and then after that, they just take pictures of it. So there was no real need for it to actually be attached to the vehicle fully. So him and I did a lot of back and forth about, you know, securing the wing properly to the vehicle, which you'll see later. Me and Ryan actually do a few extra precautions to the car to make sure that it does stay properly And, we're not worried about the wing falling off at 140 miles an hour on the track and just, thousands of dollars down the drain. But as you can see here, yeah, he's doing a really good job of getting that cut down. And what's funny is he's the only guy here that has a mask. I didn't have a mask, Chris didn't have a mask, but those fumes and stuff when you're cutting and you're trying to get the line straight and making sure, he's protected was our priority there. Things get serious when they have to bring out the bigger tools. Here you can see him really getting into it, and actually that plastic is very tough, especially down there where you get multiple layers of just hard plastic, and it took him a while to really get the measurement right, but it worked. And this kind of goes back into when I said that we were taking extra steps. You can see that we decided to weld the screws in here to the actual body line, just to be sure. All right, and now for the exciting stuff. We've already got the lower mounts done and welded into place, screwed on. Here you can see Ryan and I just getting ready to start measuring. We haven't started to drill into the top of the car yet. A lot of people always ask me before I did this and after I did this, they're like, are you sure you want to screw in and weld in and drill into a $70,000 car? And my answer is always the same. Absolutely. Especially when it comes to stuff like this. I mean, there's nothing like really building the car of your dreams, man. And being able to make a car yours and have other people appreciate something that you've built, not just online, but in person, just has a whole deeper meaning, at least to me. And, being able to bring a EV into the car scene and be able to customize it, where a lot of people think, oh, the EVs can't be customized. Sure, they can't be tuned, but at the end of the day, that doesn't mean you can't make an EV yours. You can't make, the car your own signature piece. And this is kind of a statement from me to, to those kind of people who, in my world, I would say that they gatekeep the car culture, rather than letting everybody who actually has a passion, they try to gatekeep it out. And it really, to me, damages the community. But that's just my idealism on that. And anyway, back to the video. You can see here, we're putting the bolts in. We still have to mount the top stuff. And this is when I really started to get excited, because you can start to actually see what the car is going to look like with the wing. And I don't even know how to say how excited I was to finally have this. I think I waited for this for a year and a half for Epsilon and I to finally make this a reality. And here's the first walk around. You can see it being mounted to the lower mounts. This is when it started to become real. And here was probably the scariest part for me, drilling into the actual car. You can see where we marked the drill hole lines for the top mounts. This was probably the hardest part for me. Remember earlier how I said I was always scared to do the drilling and stuff? Here I made Ryan do this. He wasn't that excited about doing it, but I think we did pretty good. We didn't actually have to re-drill any of the holes because of the way that he was able to measure everything out properly. But yeah, ouch. And here you can see, after drilling all the holes out, we were able to insert the screw mounts into those holes to get ready for the last part, which is the top mount. And you can see Ryan doing the final torquing of all of the screws on the top mount there. We're not going to talk about all the Home Depot visits, but hey, we got there, boys. Congratulations. All right, guys. So after what seemed like a very short amount of time, which was actually like 6 hours worth of work, we were able to get it done. And unfortunately, it started raining that day, so we weren't able to get a lot of good videos or pictures. But I would say that it came out really well. I mean, it's been a year later. Tell me what you guys think down in the comments. If you guys would get this for your i5N. Thanks.